Buckle up and get ready for a roller coaster ride of some tasteless humor, lots of heart, and radical truth with two scrappy chicks. Because adulting is hard, but we are thinking that laughing about it is just so much easier. Hi, welcome back. Happy February.
Yeah,
And
can you believe it? February 1st already.
and tomorrow the groundhog will tell us if we have 6 more weeks of bad weather or early spring. But let's chame because this is our second attempt. Chame
Yes.
on Xfinity, Comcast, whatever the heck they want to call themselves, because we've had
We
nothing
call
but
them friends.
issues and have to keep resetting the internet and the modem. Trust me, we've had them out numerous times. We even had them run a new line, and then they had the nerve to charge me for it, and I said, no, you weren't supposed to. So thankfully that finally got taken off, but we're still having issues, and I don't know if it has to do with it's cold and the line needs to be buried or what, but it's not just the Wi-Fi, it's the hardwire, and it's getting old. When I come home and T goes, well, I had to reset the internet again today. And then like last night, I'm trying to watch the damn Love Boat in bed and it kept stalling, and I said, okay, I'm going to bed. I'm done.
I know. I know. Trust me. Believe me.
So yeah, chame, Xfinity Comcast, get your schist
Shit. Get your shit
together.
together.
And a schist is a rock, by the way.
Yeah, because you're paying all this money for what exactly? For what?
Yeah.
You know, you and I were teenagers when pay TV came out, cable.
Yes.
And remember, everything just ran on loop. And the reason why you paid for it, this is going to be a shock to all these little youngins out there who don't know what it's like to actually have free TV. You had pay TV because you were no longer getting free TV, like your regular stations, WGN 32, 7257911, you had to pay for it, which is why you paid for it. It was called pay TV, cable TV, because you were paying for it. Because why? It wasn't free. So, and they weren't getting advertising, right? Because you were there. Ginger, were there any advertising on the original cable? No, none,
Yeah.
zero.
Well, we were the
And I
family.
remember watching Amadeus on loop because they didn't have that much on cable. And and then they had pay-per-view for certain movies, and then
Hmm.
HBO came out, blah blah. And I don't know when this advertising thing happened, but I knew it was just a matter of time. So not
So
only are you paying through the nose, but they're also getting advertising dollars. So tell me why your
tell
cable
me
bill is
why.
so expensive and your service is so crappy, it's so chitty. Tell me why.
Tell me why. I think that's the
Ain't nothing
Backstreet
but
Boys.
a bad connection.
But before the cable, do you remember on TV and Spectrum? There were boxes and they had
Yes,
naughty
yes.
movies on there.
Naughty. Oh, you would know about that.
Let's just say I was with a friend at her aunt's house in the basement and we were watching it, and the kids were upstairs asleep. And yeah, we found the naughty channel, like in the movie American Pie, where he's got the TV on with the squiggle in the middle.
Yeah, yeah, right. Because it was locked.
Hmm.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here's a funny story. I don't know if I ever told you this. My dad, um, we had a VCR and we had a place right near the house that could fix TVs. You could, I think you could buy TVs in that. You probably remember Van's TV on Oakton.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so they did, I want to say they sold and repaired and whatnot. So my
Yes.
dad had to bring over the VCR there because it got stuck, and he was embarrassed because it was an adult film that got stuck in there. And my mom laughed and she goes, serves you right, you know? that you
Yep.
were doing that and it got stuck in there and he was so embarrassed. Like, oh my God, they're gonna look at the title and be like, what? So he never did that again. Ah, okay, so we've been following the Tepe murder, and the latest we're hearing that he has been to their house before. They weren't home. I believe they were in Indiana.
Yeah, it was 3 weeks before the murder.
Yeah, and we hear that he has harassed her because I guess she they were I think they were at a basketball game or something, but she left the event early to go back to the hotel, and the husband said something about, the had I guess she was um rattled, something the ex-husband did, and I guess he's in the past said to her he would buy the house next door. So he had
Yep.
an obsession with her, even
Hmm.
still after, like
Yep.
he never really got over her and kind of
No,
had the um oh, what do you want to call it? The if I can't have you, no one will.
right.
That's
Well, and her family is saying that he would say to her that she will always be his wife.
yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
So I I mean it's horrible that you know that he killed both of them and these two kids are
Yep.
without,
Orphans now.
yeah, both parents. And they're, I mean, we don't know everything, but I still like to know how the heck he got in the house. Was he like watching videos how to break in a house or something?
We're going to find out. They're not going to say anything right now until they get him arraigned and everything, and it's all going to come out in court. And then there was another case just recently out here in Illinois,
Yes, it was
Oswego.
Tuesday. It was
Yeah,
in, yeah, and guess who was in Oswego Tuesday? I was. Um, I do not remember if they said what time this happened. I think it happened in the afternoon, and I came from Bolingbrook to Oswego. And when I looked on the map, I was not too far. Oswego's not a big town, and it's a nice, quiet town. And I wasn't too far from when it happened, and I didn't know about this probably till maybe a day or two after it happened. And another ex-husband, ex-wife thing. And the ex-husband went after the ex-wife, and her current husband got an alert on the camera and seen her running into the garage with him going after her. And he called 911 because he said, I feel like she's in danger. And she was, because he stabbed her and killed her. And they have kids together. And just, he is on Facebook. And he just 2 weeks ago was on there talking about the woman that, with the ice thing in Minneapolis, how she got murdered, and people were like, are you freaking kidding me? And man, they were going for him hard. Well, he can't see it because he's in jail. And he was remarried. So, um, I don't know if we'll find out his motive. And the
the
poor
motive is
kids.
that the laws are too lax, and women for far too long have been deemed hysterical or crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have videos, right? We have videos, we have computers in our hands with cameras and recordings, and now
Yes.
and let's face it, you and I have had this conversation. You are tracked and surveilled and monitored at every move you make, every
Yes.
phone call, every text, every time you're online, every email that you send, whether you're at work or at home, it doesn't matter. So I want to know, and I'm posing this to all the authorities out there: why aren't these men being arrested? Why is this not a legal problem? Why are these men not being stopped? Why is this happening? It's happening
Yeah.
far too often.
And you can have children with an ex, and you can have a restraining against them, and the children can go visit them, but you exchange no contact or that at like a police station. So I don't know. I mean, if we'll find out anything more of what provoked him to do this. And um, it's just sad. And then there was another murder, but it wasn't an ex thing. It was a young kid who bought a truck off of a couple and the wife was pregnant and I believe he still had the plates and they asked him, "Hey, bring our plates back." And he did, and he had an issue with the truck and he just decided to take out the poor lady and then set her house on fire. And I believe, didn't she have a child, another child in the house when they set it on fire?
I don't know.
I thought so. So it's like, and he has no remorse, and it's like, what the heck is going on, with people? And then did you see they arrested three teenagers who were shooting guns at the highway in Texas? People driving by. And these weren't no small guns. And I
So let
mean,
me guess, they're male.
well, yeah. And are they
Mhm. Yeah. So
illegal? I'm
are
not
we seeing?
sure.
Well, are we seeing? Regardless, they're male. Are we seeing a pattern?
Yeah,
Is everybody
they get
not tired
angry and
of
they go
hearing about
shooting up.
this? Well, they just don't care. They just because they get away with it and they know it. And this is probably, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that these acts of violence are perpetrated because they can see that the laws and the activist judges and everything are just very lax, and people are tired of it. We're done, especially women. And this is another reason why, because women are more likely to die at the hands of a partner than they are from anything else. And then men wonder why, or men, I won't say men, because there are men. I'm going to talk about guys and little boys, angry little boys, that women would rather remain single and actually do far better being single. Now, women would like to be coupled. Women as whole, like anybody, right? You would like to have a partner, a life partner, someone to share your life with and do things with. And you would also like to be able to feel safe in your own home with that person. And like I said, now women have these computers, cameras, and recording devices in their hands, and far too many are showing just how vile they are being treated by their quote unquote provider and protector. I don't want to hear those words out of anybody's mouth anymore, because there's no providing, there's no protecting. And until I see otherwise, in my opinion, women have to be the ones to change it. We have to be the ones. And there's a slogan that's going out there, men just aren't lonely enough. Well, they're not men, first of all, because a real man wouldn't do that. Men are confident, men are secure, men can have a reasonable, rational conversation with you and understand that you deserve your autonomy just as he deserves his. And a real man would be a provider and protector for his spouse and for his children. And what we're seeing here is just a rash of very entitled, angry little boys running around throwing a temper tantrum. And it's statistically speaking, it's primarily men. And I love when guys say, "Well, not all men." Um, okay, well, you're not actually helping the situation by saying that.
Yeah.
What do you mean by not all? Because if anything, you're not helping the situation, because you're not saying, "Hey guys, you have to do better." And is anyone calling anybody out when they're seeing someone abuse a wife or a girlfriend, or heck, even a family member, right? It's like, you're supposed to be better than that. Where is this coming from that they can just treat people that way? And then, like you said, and then just be obsessed. You're not well. You're not well when you say, 10, 11 years after this woman was able to get away from you and she started a whole new life, didn't want anything from you, and you could not let it go. You're the problem. Or the other guy too, where you said he, ran into her house and killed her.
Yeah.
Why? Like, go get a life, go get a job, go get a career, go get some help. Do something to make yourself feel fulfilled. And so, you have to make your own happiness. You can't look to anybody else to make you happy. Would you like someone to share that with you? Of course you would. Everybody would like that. no one's going to stay with you if you're going to be violent and abusive and controlling and manipulative.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that, and what was that? You were talking about that organization that is usually goes to that women's event in
Oh yes,
January.
they weren't there, and I want to say it's called the Breaking Away.
Yeah. I would really like to get in contact with them because, like you said, I mean, I think that was a brilliant idea. How can we as women get involved and help get legislation, I can say it, passed that is going to stop like one strike rule, one hit, one stalking. There's proof of everything now. I don't want to hear these, she's lying, it's a false accusation. You can prove everything. And I want to know with the Tepe murder especially, why isn't law enforcement getting involved? Why does it have to get to that point at all? Why aren't these individuals stopped? That's the burning question. And
Yes.
I think if we can get in contact with that organization too, they do have answers. They have, and I've been online looking at statistics, and it's not getting better, folks. It's getting worse. So, adolescent girls, this is why I'm so pro each one of us taking control of our future and our destiny. We can't just think that we're just going to automatically meet the perfect person and they're just going to be good to us because we're good to them. So the Chantel Hyde, she's got all those books and everything, especially, and I have granddaughters. My oldest granddaughter is 16. And I let my daughter know, hey, there's this woman out there, and there's this book. She really should read this. Had I had this information, I can guarantee you I would not have made the choices that I made. 100%. And the more information we have, it empowers us to help ourselves to make better choices. And I encourage the guys out there to do the same thing. Just go better yourself. Nobody owes me anything. Nobody owes you anything. We have to take care of ourselves. And then when we expect better for ourselves, then I think we choose better. But it's far too common. And this is only what we're hearing about. And then, then there's the issue of underreporting. Is that as high as these statistics may be, it's still underreported. So how much higher is it really? Because, it's embarrassing to be with someone who treats you so poorly, because at the end of the day, they blame you, the woman. It's your fault. Oh, and then I have the question. I have got to ask the question. So this thing about body count, and you and I were talking about this too. There's this expectation that when a woman is dating and we're trying to get to know a person, trying to get to know a guy, that, if they take us out on a date, that, if they're paying, which they should, they expect intimacy. Otherwise, the woman's a gold digger, or she's a tease, or she's using him. Okay, so answer this. So a woman's body count is then being used against her on the other end. Well, now you're a Jezebel, or you're a whore, you're just, now you're dirty, you're used, you're not worthy of anything. But then again, if I date you and I pay for you, I still expect you to put out for me. Does that make any sense? Am I making any sense?
Yes.
So how, and women have to deal with this duplicity all the time, these expectations that nobody could meet. That's why I think women just need to, if a man says to you, and I think this is why women just don't take anything from anybody. Don't ever think anybody, let them think that you owe them anything. If you're trying to get to know somebody, you should probably just pay for yourself and just say up front, I'm not going to allow you to pay for anything for me. We're going to try this out for a short period of time. No kissing, no intimacy, no nothing. And I'm going to see if you tick all the boxes for me. And then you can see if I tick all the boxes for you. And if we don't, we'll go our separate ways. No harm, no foul. I think women are far better able, and it's far easier for us to walk away than it is for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Okay, but why is that? Is it like an ownership thing? Like, you owe me? Like, I'm very curious. What is it? What do you think it is?
I don't know.
I know, right? And it's a serious question. Like I'm seriously asking that question. What is it?
But I know, well, I mean, not that I lived during my parents' times, but you didn't hear about this stuff,
No,
the
no,
stalking and stuff. The first time I heard
right.
about stalking was um I had to be in high school, and it was when that girl, that actress, Rebecca Schaefer, she was
Yes.
doing a show with Pam Dauber.
Yep.
And I think that's where the stalking started, because wasn't the one that shot Reagan, wasn't he obsessed with Jodie Foster?
Allegedly. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I think that's when the stalking laws started, is after Rebecca Schaefer, that the stalker, unlived her,
So, so that was in the 80s, correct? So
Yeah.
we're now deep into the 2020s. What's happened between the initial passing of that law to today that there is more intensive tracking surveillance now than there was ever back in the 80s. Like you could barely find a payphone if you needed one. You know what I mean? Um, and there really weren't cameras and stuff like that, and no one had a cell phone. So why wouldn't you think it would be much easier to enforce the stalking
Yes.
laws today?
Yes,
So
because if you don't have a camera, your neighbor does.
right,
Because,
there's cameras everywhere.
and even, I mean, it's not even homes. They have that new system, flocking, where
Uh-huh.
they can see where a car went, track the plates and stuff.
Yes,
And
yes.
I want to say my town has cameras downtown, and then you have businesses um that have cameras. So yeah, and I'm sure restaurants now too. It's
Everywhere. It's everywhere.
it seems like everywhere I go, I'm seeing a camera. Like,
Everywhere.
okay, so getting into businesses, I went to a cute store yesterday. It's a distillery where they have you buy or you bring your own container, and they have anything from soap, like laundry soap, shampoo, conditioner, floor cleaner, all-purpose cleaner. Um, they have these gummies, and I bought the little pack, so I'll let you know how that is. It's mushroom
Mushroom
gummies.
gummies.
Yeah, but I mean, everything is charged by the ounce, and here's me trying to figure out how to use the scale and write it down. And I went up, I said, help, I need help with the scale. And my scale was on pounds, not ounces.
Oh, oh my gosh. Okay, yeah.
So she wrote it out for me. I go, thank you. I said, I am not afraid to admit that math is not my strong point. So, they're a fairly new business, and I am going to leave their link in the show notes. And Homestead Distillery is what they're called, and they have a website, and very, very nice people. And I told
And
them
to
I
your
would be
point, I'm sure
back.
they have cameras too.
Pardon me?
I said, and to your point, I'm sure they have cameras too.
Yeah, that's what I was going with. They do on the inside, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I mean, it don't
Yeah.
bother me.
No, no, it's everywhere. So I'd be very interested to hear. And I've really been wanting to do an open forum, an open discussion on TikTok. And here's the problem is that I've seen other women do it, including Chantal Hyde. And these guys, these angry little boys, they're vile and they're just vicious. And you begin to wonder, is that really how you feel? Are you trolling? Is this just an act? Or is this truly the temperament and the sentiment of the guys out there? And what is it about? Is it because women don't need them? Because that's a whole other thing too. Did you hear about? And I haven't heard about this, Ginger. So I'm going to say this, and we're going to have to do some research. But I have seen some people saying something about single women. Someone's proposing single women need to go to like a boot camp or something. And I'm like, what? I have not heard that at all. Have you heard that?
No, that's new to
Like this,
me.
yeah, I heard that. And I'm like, oh my God. But you and I have talked too about the nutty stuff that's going out there in the world. And I want to say, is it real or is it Memorex? Like what is really happening and why? What would be the benefit and the purpose? And yeah, I don't get it. So if anybody can shed some light on that one, that would be interesting.
That's interesting. I think if anything, maybe the men need to be. The only conclusion I can come up with, what's the difference between how we were raised and our parents were raised? Um, People are not being raised the way we were raised and our parents were raised, and they're ripping and running, and they have no disregard for others. Hence why some of them have no remorse for when they do bad things.
Right.
They're not held accountable.
And I do feel like this does start in the schools and believe it or not, daycare centers, because parents really don't have, they're really not, when both parents are out of the home, who's raising the kids? It's these people at the daycare centers and it's people in the schools. So whose values and whose morals, ethics, beliefs are your kids absorbing? Yes, they may live with you technically in the evening and then on weekends, but who's teaching the kids? And I really do feel like and I'm not, there are so many ways for people to make money now. And as we say, especially for women, non-traditional ways to where a woman should be home. And I can't even pretend to think that I would have, all the answers to everything. I just feel like, maybe a woman should be at home with her children and her child, which is what a woman wants anyway. That's certainly what I wanted. But because of my situation, I did have to have my children in daycare and in school because I was not going to go on welfare. I was not going to go down that road because I saw what it did to women getting stuck in that cycle. And it was not good. It was not pretty. And have care in-home care by someone that they can choose, or, a friend, a family member to help them raise the child, especially if there's not one of those really great unicorn men out there who's a protector and a provider. So wherever they are, who knows? But we have to be cognizant that we need to be raising our children, because I honestly feel like that's a big part of it. Because like you said, Ginger, you and I were not in daycare. You and I did go to school, but the junk that they allow in schools now and for teachers to do and say was not happening when you and I were in high school and in school, general, period. So it's just been a total out the window. Everyone can do whatever they want and say, even at their job, and there's no standards and no guidelines, I feel like, for these teachers. And it's affected the youth. They've turned them into until I don't know what, but it's as we can see what's happening before our very eyes. It's not getting better, it's getting worse.
Yeah. Um, when you, oh, sorry, I'm yawning. When you go out to stores, I know like me, you pick up. But when you actually go into a store, have you noticed? So the younger kids have their phone with, like they go and get the carts, and and I seen this at Menards, and they're out by the cart corral, just standing there on their phones, not collecting the carts. And I'm like, how are they getting away with that? We did
Right.
not have phones back when we had our jobs in high school. And if we did, Heck no, there's no way they would let us get away with being on the phone. So,
Gosh, no. And didn't you? I know I did. No matter where I worked, you had a supervisor breathing down your neck the whole time to make sure you were doing your job.
yeah,
We
yeah,
worked our tails off.
several jobs.
Yeah, we
And
worked our tails off. And that's why we have we are where because that's why we're scrappy. This is why we are where we are with our careers and our continuing education and everything, and you own your own business. So that didn't happen because you were let off the hook and weren't given any consequences and we're told that you were entitled to everything and but yet don't do anything to earn it.
yeah, and I wasn't handed things. I was told you want it and you pay for it. Like I wanted
Right.
my own telephone line. I paid for it. I got a job and there was a time I was working two jobs when I was 19. I bought my own first car. Credit card. I got a mobile gas station credit card and I learned don't run it up unless you can pay for it.
Right. And I know we've had this conversation too, that's another reason why the youth is so angry because they've had everything handed to them. They haven't had to work for it. And then when they have to go out there and actually hold down a full-time job, then they go on TikTok and cry about how difficult it is to work 40 hours a week because they've never been expected to work for anything. And to them, that's painful. Well, what's going to happen is that now these people are angry and expect, they want socialism because they're used to living with mommy and daddy paying for everything, or at least mommy. I don't know about the protector and providers out there, but I know mommy was paying for stuff. And now what? Now they're entitled and they're angry. And you're angry because you don't know what it's like to be self-sufficient and to earn something and to actually strive for and accomplish a goal and have that personal satisfaction. That's where you get your power from, not from screaming on TikTok or crying or whatever on Facebook and screaming and yelling how you want socialism because you just want to sit around and be on your phone all day because you're just emotionally stunted. I feel like they're just emotionally stunted. No one knows how to grow up and take care of themselves. And it's, what are these people going to do when their parents pass away? And then there's no social services because they're all taken away because it's been abused for decades. What are they going to do then? They're just going to rob and loot and steal even more.
Yeah, I wonder, like when we see this, if hey, we got the camera phone, if we should be taking pictures and then submitting it to the company and be like, is this what you pay your employees to do?
Right. You should. Now, I haven't encountered that. I have to say that the people, like you said, we pick up our groceries. And the people that I see are not on their phone. Um, they're hustling, they're doing their job. But I feel like the younger like even the teenagers now, they're just so addicted to their devices that they literally can't function without them. I don't know what they might like just curl up into a ball and cry. Like if you took away their cell phone, almost like a pacifier. And if you can't even bring in carts, like how long does that take, Ginger? 10 minutes? Not even. And you can't be without your device or at least have it in your pocket off for 10 minutes while you do
Hmm.
your job that you're getting paid
Hmm.
for. I'm so confused.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have my phone with me. I mean, yes, I'm self-employed. And when I come home, I'm like trying to catch up on stuff. And Hoagie's like, "You're always on your phone." I'm like, "Dude, when I work and I get the phone calls, I look at my watch to see who's calling and I'll answer it or not. And there's times I'm just like, okay, especially if I'm in the middle of something, I'm like, I need to vacuum. I need to get out of here. I go, so I try to keep my phone calls short. And what else was I going through? Yeah, because then it will just throw me off if, and then I don't check stuff. I mean, maybe I'll briefly check, when I get in the car, like text and stuff. But it's a distraction. You could easily, if you're working and you check one thing, you can easily get sucked in to check
Yeah, yeah.
this and this and that. So that's why I wait till, when I get home. The text, I will check just in case, um, hey, can you stop on the way home or this or that? You know what I mean?
Right, but it's different though because you're not a teenager, probably working your first job, and you're not even able to bring the carts in because you're standing there on the phone because you're so addicted, and you can't be, untethered from that or from your friends or whoever. I'm telling you something. Had we had cell phones in the 80s, that would not have been allowed. Not with our jobs. There
No,
would have been no freaking way that would have been allowed. Like they have, it's so permissive now. But again, you and I are women of a certain age. We're Gen X. Like we paid our dues, and we are still paying our dues. We're still, going out there and being a productive member of society and working hard. But it's just, isn't that crazy? That's just so
yeah.
bizarre.
Um, Back then, when everyone started to get a cell phone, texting wasn't a thing until the smartphones came along.
Yeah.
But texting and phone calls were charged by the text or the minute.
Yes.
And
I
now it's
remember.
unlimited. When they went
Right.
unlimited, that's when things started to go downhill.
Off the rails.
And then, of course, parents like trying to decide, well, when should I get my child the phone? Oh, I really don't want to, but it's convenient that they can call me from, pick up from sports.
Well, I believe there are ways to restrict usage that way. You know what I mean? So that,
Yes.
because I know one of my granddaughters had like one of those watches, like a smart watch, where she could only, send his, if you had to be like in the contact list, or there weren't going to be any calls coming in, text, nothing. So I think that that's good. I think kids should have that, but only for a select list of individuals, family,
Yeah.
maybe a couple of friends. But yeah, I think that's, I mean, these days I think it's necessary.
And I think there's a way to limit that who they can contact. And then I heard on one podcast I listened to that you can get this phone for your kid, and there's a plan, and you can hook it up to the computer, and they can talk to their friends at home. And I guess
Yeah.
it's really popular with the younger kids. And I thought that's pretty cool.
So there are ways, that you can manage it and that,
Yeah.
where the kids are, because I think we do need to have that contact, especially in today's world. It's so different.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's pretty much it for today. That was a lot.
Yeah.
We covered a lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna wrap up with a couple of things really quick. You recommended a recipe with shoot, taco, taco,
Smash burger
smash
taco.
burger and a tortilla. I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave the recipe. It was awesome, but don't
Right?
be like me and use butter spray and set off the smoke alarm and put your dog in a panic and then he won't come in. And then we had to open up all the doors and the windows. And then I used a different pan and I didn't need butter or
Oh,
anything and
no.
I covered it. So I was able to cook without incident.
Yes. Good.
And then I made chorizo and eggs this morning without incident.
Without incident.
Yes.
Congratulations. I'm so
Thank you.
happy. You're
And
welcome.
then I don't know if I talked about the expo that I went to last week. I don't think
No,
so. So
we can
we'll,
talk about that again because we're rapidly running out of time.
yeah. And lastly, if you haven't watched Landman, you got to watch it. It is so funny. Their banter, their fights. I'm not gonna get into it and spoil it, but yeah, if you haven't seen Landman, watch it.
All right, everybody, take care. Drop us a line. We cannot wait to hear from you. And
Yes,
let us know what you have to say about our topics.
yes, and Mr. Groundhog, no more winter.
No
Get it
more.
right.
No more. We've had enough.
All right. See you guys next time.
Bye. We love our scrappy peeps. So thank you all for joining us and becoming part of our flock. So please like, subscribe, and share. And if you don't like us, unfortunately, yo mama. But if you do like us, we look forward to seeing you next time on Two Scrappy Chicks.